Usually, when we set out to write, our central priorities are to sound coherent and polished. We build our sentences carefully, piece by piece. We might spend minutes searching for the perfect synonym or agonize over the placement of a single comma. We think hard before setting anything down on the page, keeping a constant, vigilant eye on spelling and grammar. We go back, we reread, we delete, we rewrite. All of this is done in the hope of eventually reaching a point where what we have articulated seems to be a perfect, accurate reflection of what we truly think. We strive for a final product that is logical, respectable, and something we can proudly stand behind. But what if this very process of polishing, censoring, and perfecting is the one thing standing in the way of true self-expression? What if the relentless pursuit of the right word is actually preventing us from discovering our real thoughts? There's another philosophy of writing at large one with a very different, almost revolutionary thesis as to what good writing might be for. While it shares the ultimate ambition of expressing our genuine thoughts, this technique proposes that our best chances of reaching them lie in a radically different direction. It asks us to make every effort not to think too much. It demands that we let go of the need to be impressive, not to agonize about every word, not to go back and correct anything, and instead just to write down everything, absolutely everything that comes into our minds the very moment it does so. There's no concern for seeming logical, elegant, clever, or even very sane. The goal is not clarity for an audience. It is clarity for ourselves. This powerful approach is known as automatic writing. It has roots in the surrealist art movement of the early 20th century, where artists sought to unlock the power of the unconscious mind. They believed that our most creative, authentic, and surprising ideas were buried beneath layers of social conditioning and rational thought. Automatic writing was their key to bypass the conscious mind, that internal editor that is always judging, always filtering, and always telling us, no, you can't say that. So, how does it work in practice? The process is deceptively simple. It begins by asking us to pick an important, emotionally charged topic. Don't choose something abstract like the economy. Choose something that lives and breathes inside of you. For example, my mother, my father, my partner, my job, my biggest fear, or the profoundly simple prompt, what I really want. Once you have your topic, you set a timer. For beginners, 2 minutes is a perfect start. Then you begin to write as fast as you possibly can for those 2 minutes straight, without a single pause. This is the crucial part. You cannot stop. If your mind goes blank, you write, my mind is blank, my mind is blank, I don't know what to write, over and over until a new thought emerges. And it will. The goal is to outrun your inner critic. Your hand must move faster than your doubts. This can feel incredibly exhausting, strange, and even a bit frantic, but that feeling is a sign that you're doing it right. You're breaking through the barrier of conscious control. Now, when the timer goes off, you put your pen down, you take a breath, and then you stand back and read what has tumbled out of you. This is where the magic happens. What you find on the page may startle you. Your feelings about your parents, your partner, or your deepest desires may emerge as really very different from what you had consciously presumed. You might find that you harbor deep-seated anger where you had only acknowledged mild irritation. You might find waves of hate where you had meticulously constructed a narrative of love, or a surprising wellspring of love where you had imagined only disdain. You might discover hidden layers of longing, profound envy, simmering rage, or a quiet, heartbreaking sadness that you had successfully kept at bay, day to day, all in the name of appearing that most stultifying and dangerous of things, normal. The immense value of this exercise lies precisely in the extent to which our automatic writing introduces us to feelings that are at odds with our carefully curated public and private self-image. Think of your psyche as a house. Your conscious mind is the living room, neat and tidy, where you entertain guests. But automatic writing flings open the door to the cluttered attic and the dark basement, the places you've stored everything you deemed too messy, too painful, or too inconvenient to deal with. So much of who we are is dammed up inside of us. It's held back by scruples, by a fear of hurting others, by a deep-seated embarrassment as to what we truly want when it departs from the expected, conventional path. We tell ourselves we shouldn't feel envious, we shouldn't be angry, we shouldn't be sad about that. And so we push it down. But these feelings don't just disappear. This neglect of our true selves is precisely what powers our modern afflictions. It is the fuel for our anxiety, our unexplained irritability, our insomnia, and our depression. All of these are simply species of revenge enacted by the parts of ourselves we have ignored. They're the distress signals from the real thoughts and feelings we've been so careful not to allow into the neat living room of our conscious minds. They're the rattling of the basement door, demanding to be heard. When you engage in automatic writing, you're not just writing, you're performing a kind of emotional and psychological excavation. It will not necessarily make you into a great writer in the traditional sense. Your 2-minute essays will likely be chaotic, ungrammatical, and repetitive. But it will do something far more useful, far more vital. It will liberate you from some of the insincerity that is making you more troubled and restless than you need to be. It will loosen the grip of that inner critic and weaken the power of your repressed emotions. After you've written, treat the text not as a literary work to be judged, but as raw data from your subconscious. Approach it with curiosity, like a kind archaeologist examining a newfound artifact. Ask yourself, what surprises me here? What themes keep repeating? What is the emotional tone of this piece? Don't rush to judgment. Just sit with the feelings that arise as you read. This simple act of acknowledgement can be profoundly healing. It tells the forgotten parts of yourself, I see you. I hear you. You're allowed to exist. So, the next time you find yourself facing a blank page, or a difficult emotion, or a confusing life choice, I encourage you to try this. Let go of the need for perfection. Embrace the beautiful, terrifying chaos of your own mind. Let the jumbled, uncensored, and sometimes ugly thoughts flow freely onto the page. In that raw honesty, you won't just find words. You'll find a truer, more authentic version of yourself waiting to be heard. Our chaotic, intense, 2-minute essays will help us to finally meet the person we have been all along, but we're too scared or too polite to get to know. It's a powerful step towards closing the gap between who you pretend to be and who you truly are. And in that sacred space of authenticity, you will find not only clarity, but a deep and abiding peace. You will begin the journey of coming home to yourself. If this idea of self-discovery through writing resonates with you, and you're interested in more tools and philosophies that help you understand your mind and live a more authentic life, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. We are dedicated to exploring these inner worlds together. Thank you for watching.